You say something.
You're suspect.
Today is December 16th, and as the world awaits the decision of Yoshinobu Yamamoto, today we take a look at another Japanese pitcher that has been getting attention as a possible backup plan, Shota Imanaga. Plus, we got your voicemails. It's another midwinter episode of NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
New York City.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. We got a few voicemails to get to today, and I promise we'll do that because I haven't played voicemails in a while. But we're going to start doing voicemail here a lot more, including as part of the postgame podcast this season. Also, going to have a very special guest that's going to have a regular segment next year. You guys know him very well, and we'll tell you more about that as the time gets closer. But we'll be taking voicemails for that as well. So call in, be a part of the show. Helps if you keep it short and kind of to the point. Also helps if you practice what you're going to say or write it down before you make the call. So anyway, hope everybody's having a good winter. I have been busy working on the studio. I think it's finished, though. I got all my wires organized, all that good stuff. But that's the problem when you have a cat. It's that you can't leave cords exposed or they get eaten. Anyway, I started working on a video this morning because I've been watching a lot of highlights of the Yankees' potential various backup plans to Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And, we did a video about Dylan Cease yesterday, so if you haven't seen that, check it out. And my plan today was to do a video about Shota Imanaga. But I discovered as I was writing it that it's a lot more than a 3-minute video. So let's talk about it. Let's hop into the DeLorean and go back to a simpler time, December of 2006. During the 06-07 offseason, Japanese pitcher Daisuke Matsuzaka was the international free agent. He was basically what Yamamoto is right now, seen as a can't-miss who was going to shatter the record for an international player at that point. And he was just 25 years old. He had just gone 17-5 with a 2.13 ERA in Japan. And he was expected to be a can't-miss, top-of-the-rotation starter. Every Yankee fan in all the forums that I was on back in the day wanted him. I had my, MLB 06 The Show character of Daisuke Matsuzaka winning the Cy Young with the Yankees. It was a fun time because everybody thought they were going to get Daisuke. Turns out he went to the Boston Red Sox, where to his credit, he went on to help them win a World Series that year, but mostly he was disappointing as a pitcher. Yankees ended up going to their backup plan and signed Kei Igawa to a 5-year, $20 million contract on December 27th. My favorite thing about Kei Igawa, and this is not saying a lot, is that he used to pitch with regular sunglasses on, like an outfielder's sunglasses. You never see pitchers do that, ever. Anyway, it's difficult to express how terrible Kei Igawa was. Awful. Couldn't break a window with his fastball. Finished his major league career with just 71 2/3 innings pitched and a devilish, sinister 6.66 ERA. That experience made me hesitant, and I know it's irrational, to even take a look at the Yankees' backup options for Yamamoto. I was all in on Yamamoto. I still am. But I decided I'll relent. I got this voicemail, and it made me do some research.
Hey, Derek, it's Aaron. Love the show, but as the free agency season drags on and more people, certain Japanese pitchers may or may not be signed, I just can't help but do this. I'm sorry, man, but the name is Imanaga. Imanaga. Not Imanga. Anyways, I love the show. Keep up the good work. Have a good one.
Appreciate it, man. Hey, I'm very guilty. I had only done a cursory look at this guy before recently. I spent a lot of time, learning about the Yankees, learning about their system. I don't have a lot of time to go out and learn as much about the international players as I would like to, watch as much footage. But I've had some downtime lately because there hasn't been news for the last couple of days. So I went and looked at Imanaga. Look, I can say it, WNBC. And I still agree with Andrew Calabria here that it is Yamamoto or bust. I agree. Ron B says, I remember how awful Igawa was. He was terrible. He was just awful. But I went and looked at, I'm just going to say Shota because it is easier for me to say. I went and looked at Shota, 30 years old. He is 5'10", 176 pounds, so smaller than most American pitchers these days anyway. His stuff at first glance looks pretty solid to me, but it wasn't until I dug a little bit deeper that I got a bit more concerned. Low to mid-90s fastball. It does seem to have some of that ride that Garrett Cole or Carlos Rodon have when it's up in the zone and guys just can't catch up to it. But the problem is he doesn't throw as hard as those guys. And we have a super chat here from Zeneca says, let's be honest here, we haven't done anything yet. We've exchanged Soto for Donaldson's money, traded deadweight for Red Sox castaway. If we don't get Yamamoto, safe to say we aren't all in. Appreciate the dono. Ken Rosenthal said it's going to come down basically to where Yamamoto wants to pitch. And the money will be there no matter what. Anyway, Imanaga throws his fastball about 60% of the time, and it's effective in Japan, but I'm not sure it's going to be as effective here. As we saw last year with Carlos Rodon when his velocity was down a little bit, he got hammered. Even though he had a good spin rate, same pitch, up in the zone, just not as fast, and it was getting hammered. And Imanaga seems like he's basically like a watered-down version of Carlos Rodon. And when you rely on your fastball 60% of the time, and it's not that fast, you might get smashed. His secondary pitches are two variations on the slider. I actually like both of these pitches. He throws this about 16% of the time, so if he came to the major leagues, he would probably have to change his mix and throw this more. He's got a hard slider that he throws down and into righties, and he's got a sweeper that he throws backdoor to righties to drop in for a strike or as kind of a fading slider to strike out lefties. Good swing and miss stuff. But what concerns me is that of the strikeouts he had a 68% strikeout rate in Japan. Most of them were on the fastball. And according to Sports Info Solutions, his average fastball velocity was 91.8 miles per hour, which is not anything special. I get it, spin rate is fantastic, but I just don't think an average velocity of 91.8 is going to be as dominant against American hitters who hunt fastballs all day long. He gave up a lot of home runs in Japan at a time when home runs are kind of down in Japan. He gave up 18 home runs. That's a lot. Now translate that to Major League Baseball. You're probably looking at 27 to 30 home runs allowed. And that was just in 159 innings. So if they have to push him beyond that and he's getting that fatigued arm, I could see this guy being a disaster. A disaster. And it makes me hesitant enough that pitching in Yankee Stadium, I don't think I would give him a deal. Now, when he pitched in the World Baseball Classic, their StatCast data listed him as having the best quote-unquote stuff plus in the tournament, just ahead of Yamamoto. But that same system will tell you that Clark Schmidt has amazing stuff plus, and he's a back end of the rotation guy at best. Mid-fours ERA, tough start, 9-9 record, had difficulty getting past, maybe early in the sixth inning. Bottom line is, when you throw that many fastballs and they're 92 to 94 and not 98 to 101, I think guys are going to catch up to it in the major leagues. I think they're that good of hitters. They'll just figure it out. Even Masahiro Tanaka, who threw 93-94 after his elbow injury, gave up a ton of home runs, especially at Yankee Stadium, to the point where he had to stop throwing his fastball altogether by the end of his major league career. And so for that reason, I say I am passing on Imanaga. It is what it is.
It's what it is.
What it is. It's
Prime
what it
Ghost
is.
says, please no
What it
more
is.
Kiyagawas.
It's what it is.
I agree. CWE says, bro, Yamamoto met with the Red Sox yesterday. How's he made his decision already? He's fighting back against people who are saying that Yamamoto's already chosen the Dodgers, that it's a foregone conclusion, it's a fait accompli. It's not. It's going to come down to where he feels the most comfortable. He's gotten his recruiting pitch from the Dodgers. He's gotten it from the Yankees. He's gotten it from, I believe, the Giants, the Phillies. He met with the Phillies, and now the Red Sox and Blue Jays. I would imagine that having met with everybody, he's going to get together with his family, probably a couple of close friends, his agent, and they're going to say, hey, look, where do we want to live? Where do we want to spend the next decade? Do you want to be with the Dodgers where, you've got Shohei and you got this great offense, but you also have LA traffic and you have earthquakes? Or do you want to come to New York where you can kind of blend in like Hideki Matsui has done? Tanaka seemed to enjoy his time in New York up until the pandemic. But it's going to come down to where he wants to pitch, and then the money will be there. All right, let's take some voicemails.
Good morning, Derek. I see you have a recaps on the Yankees getting Dylan Cease. Hey, can't they get Luis Roberts also in that deal? That would be great.
So Luis Robert is one of the best young center fielders in baseball. I'm going to pull up his numbers on screen here. 264 average, 38 home runs, just 26 years old, 128 OPS plus. I think if you go out and get him, you're going to have to trade Jason Dominguez as part of the deal, and I don't want to do that because Dominguez is younger. He's a switch hitter. I feel like the Yankees have enough righties as it is. I just don't see the Yankees doing that. Robert's going to get paid sooner than Dominguez unless the Yankees go ahead and extend Dominguez, kind of like the Brewers did with Jackson Churio. Look, I hear you. We want all the best players all the time, but I don't see it happening. I think Juan Soto was their big get offensively. I think they're going to focus on pitching now. It's not easy to get pitching, as you can see. Everybody wants Yamamoto. Everybody wants all these guys. Dylan Cease, Corbin Burns. There's going to be a lot of competition for all that. I think the Yankees are going to have to flex their financial might. It crushed their rotation to trade Mike King because Mike King was lights out in his final 9 starts after becoming a starter. He's going to do a great job with San Diego. The Yankees got to figure out a way to replace that. And not only did they trade Michael King, they traded some guys who made some big spot starts last year. Johnny Brito started the second game of the season. Randy Vasquez came up and made some starts down the stretch. That's a lot of innings you got to replace. So I just don't think that they're going to spend the capital to go out and trade for a center fielder. They've got now, and we'll talk about this in a minute, a lot of outfielders. They've got 4 right fielders on this team.
Hey, this is Eddie from Sebring, Florida. I like the fact that we got Juan Soto, but I'm also worried about the fact of what the rotation, the starting rotation, the middle bullpen, and the closers are like. Until they get that resolved, and I don't know if they're going to sign the Japanese guy Yamamoto, but we have to concentrate on pitching. 90% of the game is pitching. All right. You guys have a good day, and let's go Yankees. Bye.
So it's going to be very expensive to get Yamamoto. I see somebody saying 12 years, $400. I don't think it's going to take quite that amount, although the Mets would probably go there if they had to. I stand by my prediction from Twitter last week. 11 years, $330 million. The That's a greater overall package than Garrett Cole got, but it's a lesser AAV. An 11-year contract takes him through his prime, takes him up to the age 36 season, and you probably include a couple of opt-outs, maybe after the age 29 season, so he can go out and get another contract if he wants. But yeah, I share your concerns about pitching. We know it's a big issue, and hopefully the Yankees are doing something about it.
Hi, Derek and Recaps. This is Patrick. I've been a Yankee fan since around 2003. Anyhow, I personally think that Soto should be the designated hitter and Stanton should be the right fielder. Stanton has a better arm, and there's not much territory in right field at Yankee Stadium, so I think he can play it. Anyhow, let me know if you agree. Yeah. So, go Yankees. Merry Christmas. Take care.
It's an interesting dilemma that the Yankees have given themselves. You've got 4 right fielders on this team right now. Aaron Judge, and granted, they want to play him in center field a little bit. That's probably the wrong way to say it. They probably don't want to play him in center field, but they will. They're willing to do it. But I'm not sure it's the best idea, wear and tear-wise. Verdugo is a right fielder. Soto is a right fielder. Even though he's played some left field, probably a right fielder at Yankee Stadium. And Stanton is a right fielder when he's not DHing. And you really can't use the DH for anybody other than Stanton if you want to get Stanton at bats. And the further we get into this offseason, the less of a chance that I think that Giancarlo Stanton could be dumped on anyone. Doesn't sound like anybody's broken down or looking for a broken down, slow righty who hits 191. And he can't run, as Cadzilla says. So let's take some more comments here and see what you guys have to say. Stu.
How you doing? My name is Stu. Just wanted to know if your hats are available online.
Yes, and you can see the link right there on your screen. It says support the show, NYYRecaps.shop. Occasionally people miss the things that are on the screen, but I try and only include things that I think are important. We got the voicemail on there. We got the you like and subscribe, obviously, the call to action, so please do that whenever watching and whenever having a good time. And support the show at NYYRecaps.shop. You can go get all sorts of stuff. I'm actually wearing one of the hoodies right now. For the people who are listening on the podcast, by the way, we were #1 in England for a few days as a podcast, so that's awesome. Anyway, I'm going to put up the mic for a second so you can see this Martian hoodie I'm wearing. Ta-da! Anyway, and this hat also available at NYYRecaps.shop. Tommy Hicks says Stanton has slimmed down. Well, until he gets his legs replaced, I'm not going to be too confident. All right, let's see here. Cody Hines says Cashman and his analytics guys said no way. Trade King and Thorpe. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. Well, first of all, you don't let Mike King and Drew Thorpe allow you to not, or block you from getting Juan Soto. I like both of them as pitchers. Mike King especially. I think he would have been terrific this year out of the rotation. But how many innings can he give you? And this is a guy who broke his elbow pitching. So there are some medical concerns there. And Drew Thorpe, not sure he has the fastball either. He's another 92 to 93 mile an hour guy and a righty who relies on a changeup and a breaking ball. And those guys sometimes have trouble adjusting to the major leagues. But Javier Velez says, I want to see Stanton get DFA'd.
You're fired.
Lori C. says, Stanton's legs are cooked. How will losing weight help that? But Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no legs. Senior Nerd says, how do you feel about Munetaka Murakami? He'll be a free agent next offseason, and he's a major lefty bat. I like him a lot. He's a first baseman, obviously, and you got, I believe, one more year of Anthony Rizzo under control at first base. I think that's a perfect time to make the transition. And he hit 50 home runs a couple of years ago in Japan. Numbers were down a bit this year, but the man has a swing that is absolutely built for Yankee Stadium. So, M. Brandt says, good luck to IKF playing with the Mets. Did he sign? I didn't hear that. All right, ladies and gents, if Yamamoto makes his decision tonight, we'll have to talk about it tomorrow. I am going to the theater with my wife. We're going to see the Christmas Carol. It was one of her gifts. So we're going tonight. And if something happens, we'll talk about it when I get back. Until then, have a wonderful Saturday, and I'll see you next time.